ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's session. On the occasion of this auspicious beginning of Kartik month, Damodar month, let's discuss some deeper insights on Sri Damodar Leela. And this Leela is very famous, and even children also know Damodar Leela, how Krishna performed so much mischief in Vrindavan, and how Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with the rope of her love. But in today's discussion, let's try to go deep into this pastime and try to see some contradictions in this pastime. What are these contradictions? Basically, there is no contradiction in any of the Leelas of Krishna, but the contradictions that we are going to talk today are very unique. In fact, these so-called contradictions are very relishable features of this Leela. So when I say contradiction, what I mean is Krishna is understood to have certain quality, but in Damodar Leela, Krishna behaved in a different way, in an opposite way to that quality. For example, Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, is the personification of supreme spiritual bliss, but in Damodar Leela, Krishna is crying tears. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, but in Damodar Leela, Krishna is speaking lies. Whatever Krishna speaks is correct, and whatever Krishna speaks is the absolute truth. He himself is the absolute truth, but he's speaking some lies to Mother Yashoda. I have not broken the pot, you have broken the pot, like that he says. Like that, there are so many sweet contradictions in Damodar Leela, and let us try to meditate on these contradictions, and let's see the message that these contradictions are giving us. I'm going to show some slides. Today we will be discussing 13 contradictions in Damodar Leela. In the Bhagavatam and many other Vaishnava songs and many other spiritual literatures, the Supreme Lord is said to be having this beautiful quality called Bhakta Vatsalyata. Bhakta Vatsalyata means the Lord is very, very affectionate towards all his devotees. That is Bhakta Vatsalyata. But if there is any quality superior to Bhakta Vatsalyata, that is Bhakta Vashyata. When we say Bhakta Vatsalyata, that means the Supreme Lord is very affectionate towards his devotees. In fact, this quality of Krishna is superior to many other qualities of Krishna. Krishna is the creator, Krishna is the maintainer, Krishna is the destroyer, Krishna is the supreme proprietor of this entire universe, Bhoktaram Vignatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. And Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is all-pervading. And it is from Krishna that all the devatas and the planets and the universes emanated. So like that, there are unlimited glories of Krishna, unlimited qualities of Krishna. But of all the qualities of Krishna, the most endearing quality of Krishna is his affection towards his devotees, his sincere love and grace upon his dedicated devotees, Bhakta Vatsalyata. Bhakta Vatsalyata means Krishna is the Lord and devotees are dependent on him, and the Lord shows mercy upon his dependent devotees. The Lord is very compassionate. Vatsalya means he is very affectionate towards his devotees. But Bhakta Vashyata means the Lord comes under the control of his devotees. Bhakta Vatsalyata means Lord is above, devotees below, and the Lord is showing some affection from top. Bhakta Vashyata means Devotee is above and the Lord is below, and the Lord is being controlled by the devotees. That's why in the scriptures it's mentioned that the Lord has this quality of bhakta vashyata. Vashyata means he is controlled by his devotees. And also one shloka of Bhagavatam says that the Lord has this quality of bhritya vashyata. Bhakta is devotee, bhritya is servant. The Lord is controlled by his servants. When a servant serves the Lord with full dedication, the Lord likes to come under the control of that loving servant. And also Damodar Ashtakam says, Bhaktair jitatvam. The Lord is conquered by his devotees. Bhakti Badham. The Lord is bound. Badha means bondage. The Lord is bound by the affection of his devotees. Then Bhagavatam 9th canto says, Bhakta Paradhina. Aham Bhakta Paradhino Hyasvatantra Ivadvijaha. The Lord is Paradhina, means he is totally dependent on his devotees. So many terminologies. All these terminologies just reveal to us that the Lord is controlled, captured, and captivated, and bound and dependent on the love of his devotees. And Damodar Lila, which Krishna performed on Deepavali, in Vrindavan Dham with his dear mother Yashoda, is one of the most enchanting Leelas of Krishna, where Krishna demonstrated this quality of being controlled by the affection of his devotees. Now, let's try to meditate on this Leela and try to understand some sweet contradictions, sweet compromises that Krishna made to his own innate Swarupa character to demonstrate to all of us that he is controlled by his devotees. My being proprietor of this entire universe is not as important for me as my being a son of Mother Yashoda. Let me keep aside all my majesty. Let me keep aside all my opulence. Let me keep aside all my grandeur. Let me just be a dedicated servant of my devotees. Let me be bound by the love and affection of my devotees. This is Krishna's mood. This is the mood in which Krishna performed this Rasa Leela. Let's try to meditate more. And before even we enter the contradictions, let's understand the cause behind these contradictions. Why Krishna is exhibiting contradictions in his Leelas? Darshayam stadvidam loka atmano bhritya vasyatam vrajasyo vaha vaiharsham bhagavan balacheshtitaih. Darshayam stadvidam loka. Darshayam means Krishna wants to show to all the people in this world. What? What he wants to show? Atmano bhritya vasyatam. That he is controlled by his servants. Prajasyova havai harsham. And which servant? And actually, who is a Bhritya? Everybody is a Bhritya. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasava Bhritya. Only Krishna is the Ishvara, the supreme controller. Arasava Bhritya. Everyone else is a Bhritya, a servant. But does it mean that Krishna is controlled by all servants? Because Krishna has this quality of Bhritya Vashyata, means he is controlled by his servants. And everybody is a servant. That means every servant will be able to control Krishna. No. Only those servants who are in the consciousness of being a servant of Krishna can control Krishna. Controlling Krishna is not possible for anybody. Any servant cannot control Krishna. Only those who love Krishna and serve Krishna lovingly, selflessly, with full dedication, without expecting anything in return, such people can control Krishna. Technically speaking, constitutionally speaking, everybody is a servant. But not many servants are in the mood of being a servant of Krishna. They are thinking they are masters. Although they are servants, they are thinking they are masters. That's the condition of the conditioned souls. But Krishna is controlled by those dedicated servants. And most of those dedicated servants are there in Vrindavan. Of course, in Vaikuntha, Dwaraka, Mathura, many other places, the dhams of the Lord are filled with such devotees. But in Vrindavan, all the top rankers are there. All the devotees of Krishna who are epitome of loving emotions for Krishna in different flavors like Vatsalya, Madhurya, Sakhya, they are there in Vrindavan. Vrajasyova havai harsham Bhagavan balacheshtitaihi. That Bhagavan Krishna is doing some childhood pastimes, balacheshtitaihi, just to demonstrate this quality of Vrityavashyata, that he is controlled by his devotees. So this is how Sukadeva Goswami very beautifully describes Krishna's the reason behind contradictions in Krishna's Leelas, especially Damodar Leela. Now, let's see the contradictions. Number one, you can see the number here in this corner. First is the supreme proprietor steals. Krishna is the supreme proprietor. He is Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. All the planets emanated from him. All the planets are controlled by him, maintained by him, created by him. And when the right time comes, he can even destroy the planets through his Gunavatara, Lord Shiva. So, the Lord is the unrivaled proprietor and master of all the material and spiritual worlds. And he is served by thousands of Lakshmis, goddesses of fortune. But in Vrindavan, Krishna steals butter from the ladies of Vraja. He goes to Vraja Gopis' homes as if he's a poverty-stricken person. He steals little milk and buttermilk and butter and some very simple milk products. He's not stealing even diamonds or gold or silver. He's stealing some simple milk products. He's the supreme proprietor, but he's stealing. So generally, stealing is done by somebody who is poverty-stricken, who doesn't have any money for his maintenance, and he's unable to earn money, or he's greedy for more money. Such people will steal. But Krishna is stealing, although everything belongs to him only. So he steals. And he cleverly invents so many methods. These are called steya yogaihi. He invents so many innovative methods of stealing butter. Sometimes he would pick holes in the hanging pots from the ceiling, or he would just make a human pyramid, or he would climb on the backs of some of his friends and he will steal butter from there. He would enter the homes through windows, through open doors, or he would release the calves before milking time. And when all the members in the home are running behind the calves, Krishna will run into their homes and he will steal butter. Like that, steya yogaihi. Krishna invents so many methods of stealing. Although he's the proprietor of everything in this entire universe, he's stealing. This is one contradiction. In fact, this is the reason why Mother Yashoda personally wanted to churn butter for Krishna. Because Krishna is going to different homes of the gopis and stealing butter, and all these gopis are coming to Mother Yashoda and giving so many complaints to Mother Yashoda. So Mother Yashoda thought that maybe the butter that I'm providing to Krishna in my home is not tasty enough. That's why he's going out and stealing butter from others' homes. Let me personally make butter for Krishna. So like that, Krishna steals butter, although he's the supreme proprietor. And even within Damodar Leela also, when Mother Yashoda neglected Krishna without feeding him milk, actually she was feeding milk. But when the Padmagandha milk, which was boiling and spilling over in the kitchen, when the sound of that overflowing milk came to Mother Yashoda's ears, so Yashoda Mata just kept Krishna aside for a moment, just so that she can save that milk, spilling over milk. So that made Krishna very angry, and he broke butter pot and he went and stole butter. So even within Damodar Leela also, Krishna is stealing butter. So that's one contradiction. The supreme proprietor steals. Second contradiction, the absolute truth lies. Whenever Mother Yashoda finds Krishna stealing butter, or whenever the gopis of Vrindavan complain to Mother Yashoda about Krishna's butter stealing activities, Yashoda Mother would interrogate Krishna. Krishna, why are you stealing butter? What happened? Are you not being provided with tasty butter at our home? And even within Damodar Leela also, Mother Yashoda chased Krishna. When Krishna broke the butter pot and he ran away, Yashoda Mata also ran behind Krishna and finally caught Krishna, and she asked, Krishna, tell me, why did you steal butter? Krishna said, no, I have not stolen. And she asks, who gave butter to monkeys? Krishna says, the one who has created the monkeys gave butter to the monkeys. Krishna is Param Satyam, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, we praise Krishna like this. Janmadhyasya yatonvayadi tarataschaर्थेष्व bhignaswarat tene brahma hridayadi kavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo varimridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. Satyam param dhimahi means let us meditate on that Parama Satyam, the supreme absolute truth Krishna. And that supreme absolute Krishna, the absolute truth Krishna, Param Satyam, he is speaking great lies. Of course, this is not a lie, actually speaking. Krishna gave butter to the monkeys, but indirectly Krishna said, the one who created the monkeys gave butter to the monkeys. But Mother Yashoda never thought that Krishna is God and Krishna is the creator of monkeys. Krishna is cleverly giving these answers. And sometimes Krishna will speak absolute lies also. Although he is absolute truth, he'll speak absolute lies. What is that? Mother Yashoda asked him, tell me, who broke the butter pot? Then Krishna said, when you left me neglectfully without feeding me milk, somehow your anklet on your leg, on your foot, touched the butter pot and the butter pot broke. And seeing you with a stick, mercilessly trying to beat me, I ran away. I became afraid. So that's what has happened. And you are mercilessly trying to kill me and punish me. Punish me and beat me. So Yashoda Mata is asking some questions. Krishna is giving so many clever answers, which are mostly lies. So the absolute truth is lying here. So this is one contradiction. Then there is one more contradiction. There are many contradictions. We saw only two so far. Now the third contradiction is that he is self-satisfied. Krishna is called Atma Rama, means one who is self-satisfied. But in this Leela, Krishna becomes hungry. How can the self-satisfied personality of Godhead become hungry for some milk? Actually, Mother Yashoda got up early in the morning on Damodar, on the day of Diwali, and she started churning butter for Krishna. But something interesting happened. Krishna got up from his sleep and he started searching for Mother Yashoda while crying. While crying, Krishna came to Mother Yashoda and he became Stanya Kama. Sukadeva Goswami describes that Krishna became Stanya Kama. Stanya Kama means he became desirous of Mother Yashoda's milk, right? Actually, Krishna is Atma Rama. Atma Rama means self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything beyond himself for his satisfaction. How can such a self-satisfied personality become hungry? If you are self-satisfied, you don't have any unfulfilled desires. All desires are fulfilled, right? So he's Atma Rama, he became Stanya Kama. He became hungry. He wanted more and more milk. He became hungry, he became even greedy also. Then Mother Yashoda fed him milk, and after some time, when Mother Yashoda kept Krishna aside to save that milk, again Krishna became very greedy for more milk. He wanted to drink more. So, but Mother Yashoda is away. So Krishna went to the next room and stole butter, yesterday's butter. So the self-satisfied Lord is becoming hungry here. This is another contradiction. Now there is one more contradiction. Let's go to the fourth one. Peace personified becomes angry. Krishna is Vishuddha Sattva Vigraha. Shuddha Sattva means pure goodness with absolutely no tinges of passion or ignorance. In this material world, there are three gunas: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Generally, the Sattvagun in this world is contaminated by some tinges of Rajogun and Tamogun. Pure Sattvagun is not available. But in Krishna, or very exalted and elevated devotees of Krishna, there is pure Sattvagun, Vishuddha Sattvagun, right? So Krishna is Vishuddha Sattvagun. And anger, greed, lust, all these qualities, envy, pride, all these qualities are seen in lower modes, like Tamogun and Rajogun. So when somebody is affected by passion and ignorance, they become angry, greedy, and self-centric, proud, etc. Those who are in mode of goodness will not exhibit these qualities of pride, greed, anger. But Krishna is Vishuddha Sattva Vigraha. He is in pure goodness, not even in material mode of goodness. He is in pure goodness with absolutely no tinge of Rajogun and Tamogun. How can such a personality, how can such pure Supreme Lord Krishna, who is peace personified, how could he become angry? right? Peace personified. He's always peaceful. He's never agitated. He's not agitated by lust or envy or greed or anger. Even if Krishna becomes angry, that anger is controlled. That anger is directed towards a noble cause. Krishna never becomes angry randomly, right? So, but Krishna, in this Damodar Leela, he becomes extremely angry. Why? Yashoda Mata kept him aside while feeding milk. Actually, Yashoda Mata did not deny milk for Krishna. She already fed Krishna milk, so much milk. And like a Chataka bird that drinks rainwater, Krishna was drinking Mother Yashoda's divine milk, which is a transformation of her motherly love, for a long time. Just because this Padmagandha milk in the kitchen was like spilling over, Yashoda Mata just said that, let me just come back in a minute, Krishna. I'll continue to give milk. I'll come back in a minute. Huh? Let me just put it right and then come back. That made Krishna so angry, right? Sometimes Krishna becomes angry also. In other Leelas also, Krishna becomes angry when somebody does a very, very grave offense. But here Mother Yashoda did not do any grave offense. Here Mother Yashoda just gave half-minute pause. Half-minute or 1 minute pause. She would just go, keep the milk aside from the stove, and then come back and continue feeding Krishna. Right? She could not carry Krishna because she had to run very fast into the kitchen. She was fearing that I may drop my little child if I carry him also. So she said, Krishna, just stay here. I'll come in a minute. But Krishna became so angry. He had tears in his eyes and he broke part. He became very angry with Mother Yashoda. So how can peace personified become angry? This is another contradiction that Krishna exhibited in this Leela. Now, the fifth contradiction. It's even more interesting. So here, Krishna is time personified, but he flees in fear. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi loka kshayat krit pravriddha. Kalosmi, I am time personified. And even Mother Kunti also glorifies Krishna that Manye tvam kalam ishanam anadinidhanam vibham. Manye, I consider kalam ishanam. Oh Krishna, you are Kala. You are time personified. I consider you as time personified. So, Kunti Mata described him, Krishna himself described himself as time personified, and even Bhishma Dev also describes Krishna as time. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam chaidas priyam. Everything is happening because of time, and the time is another form of Krishna. Vayoreva ghanavali. So time causes transformation and deterioration and destruction of everything in this material world, and the time is another form of Krishna. Time causes fear in everybody. Time is not fearful of anybody. Just because somebody is scaring time, will time stop? Your clock may stop when the battery is over, but the time will not stop. Not a single moment will pause for anyone. Nobody can stop time. So time has no fear. Out of fear of other personalities, we must stop our activities. We must stop doing things. But time is never fearful. Krishna in his form of time is never fearful. But Krishna became fearful of Mother Yashoda's little stick. He's so fearful that he was crying profusely. And he's running away in fear of Mother Yashoda. Kunti Maharani describes Krishna's fear like this. Very, very beautiful, beautiful prayer in the first canto, 8th chapter. She says that Gopya dade tvai krita gasidama tavad yate dashashrukalila sambharam vaksham Vaktram ninija bhaya bhavanaya sthitasya samam vimohayati bhirapi yad bibheti Gopya dade tvai krita gasitama damatavad. My dear Krishna, that Gopi, Mother Yashoda, she wanted to bind you because you have committed so many offenses. One offense is breaking pot. Another offense is stealing butter. Third offense is giving butter to monkeys, distributing that butter to monkeys. Fourth offense is running away when Mother Yashoda is calling him back and making Mother Yashoda move around in different streets of Vrindavan behind Krishna. And even after Krishna is caught, Krishna spoke so many lies to Mother Yashoda. How many offenses Krishna has done? Huh? So because Krishna has done these offenses, Yashoda Mata wanted to bind Krishna, punish Krishna, discipline Krishna, teach him good manners. Just train him as a good human being. That's her attempt. Gopya dade tvayi krita gasida mata yate dashashrukalila sambhramaksham. At the time, when Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, there was terror in the eyes of Krishna. Kaliranjana sambhramaksham, Krishna is trying to rub his eyes like this. And on his bluish face, this ointment, black ointment on his eyes is just spreading all over the face. And that's looking so beautiful. Bluish face, reddish lips, and black ointment spread over his cheeks when he's crying. So that is that's making his face so beautiful. Then Kaliranjana Sambhramaksham Vaktram Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Sthitasya. Bhaya Bhavanaya Sthitasya means Krishna is standing there with Bhaya. Bhaya means so much fear. Bhaya Bhavanaya Sthitasya. Samam Vimohayati Bhirapi Yad Bibheti. Although fear personified becomes fearful of Krishna, Krishna became fearful of Mother Yashoda's little stick in her hands. You see in this picture, Yashoda Mata is trying to chase Krishna with a stick in her hand. Seeing that stick, Krishna became fearful. Fear personified will become fearful. You know what is fear personified? Let's take a little bird, small sparrow, trying to eat some grains. Suddenly, a bigger bird, a crow, comes there. Seeing this bigger crow, this smaller sparrow will run away, will fly away, right? So as crow is eating something, say a big eagle comes or a vulture comes to eat it, then immediately the crow flies away, right? So just seeing this another bigger bird, the smaller bird is having fear. One little bird has some fear. Another bird has some fear. One animal has some fear. An animal, for example, a deer, sees a lion, and the deer becomes so fearful, gets so scared. So seeing a ferocious animal, a small innocent animal can become fearful. You just take the amount of fear felt by all the animals put together, all the birds put together, all the aquatics put together, all the human beings put together, all the devatas put together, or every single conditioned soul feels some fear, and you take all that amount of fear and put at one place, and the personification of all that fear is fear personified, and that fear will run away seeing Krishna. Right? Krishna is so fearful to even fear personified, and that Krishna runs away seeing Mother Yashoda's stick. Can you just imagine what a great contradiction it is in Krishna's Leela, Krishna's personality, time personified, who can cause fear and terror in everybody, as somebody is writing exam. Exam duration is 2 hours, for example. Now he's answering questions, 1 hour passed, even he could not answer even half the questions. 1.5 hours passed, he could not answer even 30-60% of the questions. So time is less, number of questions to be answered are more. People become a little fearful. Oh, the invigilator will come and then take away my answer sheet. There is fear. And even after writing the exam successfully, there is fear of results. When will the results come? So out of these 4 common emotions in conditioned souls, like ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunamcha. Ahara means eating. Nidra is sleeping. Bhaya is fearing. Maithuna means procreating, producing children. So out of these 4 emotions, the most prominent emotion and most recurring emotion or constant emotion is fear. Eating once in a day, or maybe 3 times in a day. Sleeping maybe 6-7 hours in a day, 8 hours in a day. At the max, you can sleep 10 hours. You can't sleep 24 hours in a day. But people can become fearful 24 hours in a day. Right? That is possible. So fear is very prominent emotion. And that fear becomes fearful of Krishna, and Krishna is fearful of Mother Yashoda. Can you just imagine this contradiction? That's the 5th contradiction. Now, 6th contradiction. Krishna is the fastest, but he gets caught. Yam Brahma Varunindra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedaihi Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidursura suragana devaya tasmai namaha Dhyanavasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino. Great yogis in their dhyanavastha, in their deep meditation, they see the Lord. They just get a glimpse of the Lord's lotus feet or the Lord's darshan or his face or his overall form. Just a glimpse of it, they'll get in their hearts after thousands and thousands of years of tapasya. Right? It is very difficult to see Krishna. It is very difficult to capture Krishna or catch Krishna even within your mind. Even if you move at the pace of wind or at the speed of mind, you cannot catch Krishna. It's very difficult. You cannot understand Krishna, you cannot catch Krishna. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam namaharshayah aham adirhi devana maharshinam cha sarvashah. Nobody can understand me. I'm the origin of everything. Nobody can catch me within their mind. Even Prachetas say, Namo Namah Klesha Vinashanaya Nirupito Daraguna Vayaya Mano Vacho Vega Purojavaya Sarvaksha Margairagata Dhvani Namaha Mano Vacho Vega Purojavaya. Mana, mind has certain speed. You are sitting in India, in Mumbai. Suddenly mind can go to America or some other country. Or it can go to Swargalok also. Mind is so fast. No ticket, no visa required to travel to some country within the mind. Right? Mano vacho vega. And words, although you are sitting in one corner of a village, but through your words you can go to different places. Right? But Krishna is faster than your words. Krishna is faster than your mind. Means with your thinking power you can never catch Krishna. With your power of description, with your eloquence, with your ability to speak, you cannot catch Krishna, right? Manovacho Vega Purojavaya. Vega is very fast. Upanishads declare that he can run faster than the mind. He can run faster than the wind. And here is one little gopi in Vrindavan, Yashoda Mata. Although she was tired, very much tired, working so hard, churning butter for Krishna, still she was able to easily catch Krishna. Therefore, Mother Yashoda's position is greater than that of the gopis of Vrindavan. Mother Yashoda's position is greater than all these yogis. Of course, she is definitely better than the gopis of Vrindavan. Basically, Krishna is the fastest, but he gets caught very easily. That is another contradiction. See how many contradictions are there in Krishna's pastimes, especially in Damodar Lila itself. Let's see the seventh contradiction. The condensed bliss cries. Krishna is condensed bliss. As Brahma glorifies Krishna, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Krishna is Ananda Vigraha. He is the form of supreme spiritual bliss. There is no reason for Krishna to lament. There is no tragedy in Krishna's life. Krishna need not be sad for anything. Of course, there is some sadness in separation from the gopis, but that's an experience of bliss also. On material plane, distress is distress. Happiness is also distress. But on spiritual plane, happiness is happiness. Even distress is also happiness. When is distress? Generally on the spiritual plane, distress is caused by separation. When Krishna and the gopis, when Krishna and his devotees are separated from each other for some reason as a part of a LILA, then out of feelings of separation for each other, there is some kind of sadness or distress in them. But even the distress is also cause of supreme spiritual bliss. That is called Vipralambha rasa. Sambhoga means the joy of union. Vipralambha means the pain of separation. But this joy and pain, both are ultimately joyful. So there is absolutely no pain in Krishna's life. But Krishna is crying. Although he is condensed bliss, Satchidananda Vigraha, he is crying. Just by taking shelter of Krishna, we will become happy. But he is crying. How much he is crying? In this Damodar Leela, throughout the day, he is crying only. He got up early in the morning while crying for Mother Yashoda's milk. After some time, he managed to go to Mother Yashoda and she gave him little milk. And Krishna was kept aside by Mother Yashoda. Then he started crying. While crying, he got up. While crying, he interrupted his milk drinking. While crying, he stole butter. While crying, he gave butter to the monkeys. While crying, he ran. While crying, he was bound by Mother Yashoda. While crying, he dragged this wooden grinding mortar in between these two Yamalarjuna trees and he collapsed them, uprooted them. So the Damodar Leela, most part, Krishna is crying only. It's a crying Leela. Most of the other Leelas, Krishna is very happy, but here he is crying. He's crying all the happiness ultimately. But the point is, although he's condensed bliss, he's crying. Contradiction, right? And most of the deities, in fact, all the deities of Krishna are smiling very happily. Did you ever see a crying deity of Krishna? Did you ever offer arti or bhoga to a crying deity of Krishna? But only in Kartik month, we offer a lamp to crying deity of Krishna. That is Yashoda Damodar. Yashoda Mata is, you see, many temples have this form, a diorama or some deity is kept where Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna to a wooden grinding mortar and Krishna is crying. He has a sad face. And we are offering lamps to Krishna. Some new person comes to the temple, some guest comes to the temple and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" We are worshipping this boy. The boy is crying. Will he wipe your tears? He himself is crying. Yes, our God can liberate us, although he's in bondage. Can make us laugh, can make us smile, although he's crying. That is the contradiction in Damodar Leela. Very sweet contradiction. The condensed bliss cries. When Mahavishnu breathes out, billions of universes are coming. And while crying, while running, Krishna is also breathing very heavily. Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam mrijantam karambhojayugmena satankanetram muhushvasakampa sthitagraiva damodaram bhaktibaddham. Muhushvasakampa is breathing heavily. When Mahavishnu breathes, billions of universes are coming out. When Krishna is breathing heavily, nothing is happening. Yashoda Mata is not even melting in her heart. She is very strict. She wants to somehow manage to catch Krishna, punish Krishna, bind Krishna. Although she is failing to bind Krishna, still she is very determined to bind Krishna. And even some neighboring gopis, as you are seeing in this picture, some neighboring gopis, they are smiling at Mother Yashoda's endeavor and they told Mother Yashoda, Yashoda, please don't bind Krishna, let him play. Looks like it's not there within his destiny to be bound by you. Leave him. But Mother Yashoda said, no, no, no. I must somehow understand the extent of my child's waist today. My child's waist is as big as my fist. But why am I unable to bind him? I think I must bind him. So this is the extent to which Krishna compromised on his natural general characteristics to enhance the flavor of Damodar Leela. His condensed bliss is crying. Eighth contradiction. He's the object of prayers, but he gets scolded. So many people, so many great devatas, many great devotees, they offer heartfelt prayers to Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with so many prayers. First, Arjuna prays in first canto. In the first canto, we also see Uttara's prayers, Kunti Mata's prayers, Bhishma's prayers. In the second canto, we see Brahma's prayers. Third canto also has Brahma's prayers. Then we also have prayers of Mother Devahuti in the third canto. Fourth canto is filled with prayers of Prachetas, Prithu Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many other devatas. Fifth canto is filled with so many prayers, 9 sets of prayers of the residents of Jambudvipa, and many other prayers. Sixth canto has Vritarasura's prayers. Seventh canto has Prahalad Maharaj's prayers. Eighth canto has Bali Maharaj's prayers. Ninth canto has Ambarish Maharaj's prayers. 10th canto has the prayers of Devaki, Vasudev, and many other devotees, Brahma's prayers, prayers of personified Vedas. 11th canto has prayers of Uddhav Gita. 12th canto has many other prayers, Bhumi Devi's prayers. So every single cant of Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with so many prayers offered to the Lord by his devotees. And here is Mother Yashoda chastising Krishna. The person who is supposed to be praised and glorified, he is being chastised here. The object of prayers gets scolded. Mother Yashoda is scolding. You are a monkey. You are constantly associating with monkeys. You also have become like a monkey. You are coming from a lineage of monkeys. Then Krishna says, if I am coming from the lineage of monkeys, I must have inherited the qualities of a monkey from my mother's side, not from my father's side. So Krishna says like this. So who will scold Krishna? Who will scold the Supreme Lord, Absolute Truth, Almighty God? Nobody can scold, but Mother Yashoda has the authority to scold Krishna. Only in Vrindavan, Krishna is scolded. Atheistic people scold out of their lack of devotion. But devotees of Krishna, especially Brajavasis, scold Krishna out of intense devotion, out of intense love and affection, right? So these are special scoldings that Krishna receives, and Krishna receives them with love. The object of prayers gets scolded. Sorry, this picture is overlapping on the title, but Krishna. Just now I was describing some time back. What was that? Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Bharutah Stanvanti Divyaistavaihi. Yam Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Marutah, all these great devatas, different devatas, Stunvanti Divyaihi Stavaihi. They praise Krishna in transcendental poetry. Divyaihi Stavaihi. Stava means praise or prayer, and Divya means transcendental, divine. So such great people are offering divine prayers to Krishna, and Yashoda Mata is scolding Krishna. Why are you breaking pot? Why did you break my pot? Why are you speaking lies? Why are you acting like a monkey? Why are you so fickle-minded? You are a house plunderer. You have no discipline. You don't know how to behave properly. You should learn manners. I should discipline you. I will punish you. Oh, all this. Who will say this to God? But Krishna kept aside his godhood and identified himself as a dependent child on Mother Yashoda. That is the speciality of Damodar Lila. And not only scolding, Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna. All the great devatas, in the beginning of Krishna book, we see 10th canto of Bhagavatam. These devatas go on the bank of uh, milk ocean and offer prayers to the Lord. Sahasrasirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhomim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam Purusha Evedagam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yascha Bhavyam. They are offering Purusha Sukta prayers to Krishna for just to request Krishna to descend. And after Krishna descends on this planet, when he's hardly 2-3 years old, Yashodamata is chastising him left, right, center. You see? So this is the speciality of Damodar Lila. Now the ninth contradiction is the supreme judge awaits judgment. I just quoted a shloka some time back. That is from Kunti Maharani's prayers. Gopya dade tvaikata dasi damatavat yate dashashrukalila sambhramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya sthitasya. Vaktram niniya means bending his head low. Who will bend his head low? A criminal in the court in front of a judge, he bends his head low like this. He has done a mistake, right? That's why he's bending his head low. Similarly, in this court of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda is the judge and Krishna is the criminal. He has done a mistake and Mother Yashoda is going to punish Krishna. She's going to judge Krishna. She's the judge. Krishna's future is completely dependent on Mother Yashoda's decision. As you're seeing here, although Krishna did not want to get bound by Mother Yashoda, she's trying to bind him. She can decide anything. No more milk products for you. No butter, no milk, no curd, nothing for you. No toys for you. No playmates for you. No movement only for you. I'm going to bind you. I have to discipline you. So Krishna's future is completely in her hands. Krishna is the supreme judge, right? He is the one who observes all the activities, good and bad activities of living entities. And he is the one who decides their destiny. He is the one who sends an SMS to Yamaraj and tells them, you please punish this guy in this way. He has done this is mistakes. these kinds of sinful activities, he deserves this kind of punishment, and Yamaraj is the executor. Krishna is the judge. Why Krishna is the judge? Krishna is there in everybody's hearts. As Paramatma, Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tisthati. Sarvasya chaham hridaya sannivishto mattaha smritirjnanam apohanam cha. So Krishna stays as Paramatma within the hearts of all living beings, and he constantly observes all our activities. He keeps a track record of all our good and bad activities, and he, as a judge, he gives results. Okay, he did pious activities, let him enjoy for some time. He did impious activities, let him suffer for some time in hell. Yamaraj will execute things here. So Krishna is the supreme judge, but Mother Yashoda is judging Krishna. You have done a mistake, and for your mistake, this is the punishment. So judge will evaluate the mistake and gives an appropriate punishment. Before Damodar Lila, Krishna has done so many mistakes, and Yashoda Mata has given some punishments to Krishna, scolding Krishna, pulling his ears or whatever. But this time Mother Yashoda became extremely strict. Now she thought just scolding is not sufficient. This time Mother Yashoda is not even kind enough to wipe the tears of Krishna also. Generally, when Krishna is crying, Yashoda Mata would take the edge of her sari and then she will wipe the tears of Krishna like, oh, don't cry, my dear child. But this time, Mother Yashoda is not doing that. She became very strict with Krishna. He'll bind you. And Krishna himself, Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram, he himself is trying to wipe his tears, because Yashoda is not wiping his tears. Because she's the judge. She can do whatever she wants. She can arrest Krishna, she can bind Krishna, she can beat Krishna, whatever she wants, she can do. Because Krishna is very fickle-minded, Yashoda became very, very strict because he was disturbing her household activities unnecessarily. So finally, Yashoda Mata gave her judgment. What is that? I will bind you with a rope. Lavangavati, Kurangavati, oh my dear maid servants, please bring ropes. I will bind this boy today. That's the proper punishment for him. She is the judge. She's giving judgment. The supreme judge is waiting for her judgment and is completely surrendering to her judgment. This is the 9th contradiction. Now, 10th contradiction. Yashoda Mata is unable to bind Krishna for some time, as all of you know. I'm not going to details of the past time. But ultimately, Yashoda Mata is bound. Now, Yashoda Mata could bind Krishna. He's all-pervading, but he gets bound. This is a major contradiction in this shloka. Krishna is all-pervading, means he exists everywhere. He is Sarva Desha Vyapa, he is Sarva Kala Vyapa. Sarva Desha Vyapa means one who is there at all places. Sarva Kala Vyapa means one who is there at all times. Now this is a little object, a mouse. It's there now, existing. After a few years, it will not exist because it will deteriorate, it will stop functioning. Maybe after a few years, this is extinct. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna is there since time immemorial. Krishna will continue to stay for the rest of eternity with full awareness. Yes, we as souls also were there since time immemorial and will continue to live for the rest of eternity. That means we are also eternal, like Krishna, because we are his minute parts. But we are not aware of what's happening in the past and future. But Krishna is fully aware of past, present, and future. He's all-pervading. One thing is, he's Sarva Kala Vyapa, he's all-pervading throughout the time. Next is Sarva Desha Vyapa, he's all-pervading. If something exists everywhere, how can you bind it? Now, this mouse is this much only. Maybe it's like 2.5, 3 inches wide. You can take a small rope and then tie it. Because there's a limit to it. It begins from here and it ends here. So there's a limit to it. It has some certain boundaries. So if you have certain boundaries, if an object has certain boundaries, you can bind it. But Krishna has no boundaries. He's everywhere. How can you bind him? Mother Yashoda could manage to bind him, right? So when Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, Krishna's Satya Sankalpa Shakti called his Vibhuti Shakti. What is Satya Sankalpa Shakti? That Shakti that makes everything that Krishna wants true. And that Shakti called Vibhuti Shakti means Krishna's majesty, Krishna's grandeur, Krishna's power that manifested in Krishna's belly, and Yashoda Mata could not bind that belly. Some other time we can discuss these Shaktis. But at this moment, please understand that Yashoda Mata tried to bind Krishna initially, but she could not bind. And finally, Yashoda Mata was able to bind when Krishna sanctioned it. Drishtva parishramam Krishna kripayasit swabandhane. Initially, the rope was falling 2 fingers short, but later Krishna became merciful, seeing her endeavor, and she could bind Krishna. Although he's all-pervading. Nachantar na bahiryasya na purvam napi chaparam. There is no inside or outside of Krishna. There is no beginning or ending of Krishna. He exists everywhere. But Yashodamata could bind Krishna. Completely brought Krishna under her control. Just few days back, Yashodamata saw entire universe in Krishna's belly. And now Yashodamata is binding that belly. Can you just imagine? By binding Krishna's belly, Mother Yashoda not only brought Krishna under her control, she also brought the entire universe under her control, because the universe is there in his belly only. Namaste studamne sphuradipti dhamne tvadiyodharayatha vishvasya dhamne namo radhikayai tvadiya priyayai namo nantalilaya devaya tubhyam. Namo Radhikaye Tvidiya Priyaye. Basically, I'll not go into the details of that, but here the point is the rope that is binding Krishna's belly also receives obeisances. So, Mother Yashoda is binding Krishna, although he's all-pervading. That is the 10th contradiction. Now, 11th contradiction. Here, Krishna desired not to be bound by Mother Yashoda. Krishna desired to play, but Yashodamata desired to bind Krishna. So God has kept his desire aside, surrendering to a devotee's determination. So here God's desire overpowered by devotee's desire or devotee's determination. Swamatuhu svinna gatraya visrasta kabarasrajaha drishtva parishramam Krishna kripayasit swabandhane. Seeing the parishrama, endeavor of Mother Yashoda, Krishna's kripa invoked. Kripaya asit swabandhane. Krishna himself bound himself. That means Krishna allowed Mother Yashoda to bind himself. Means Krishna aligned his own desire with Mother Yashoda's desire. Mother Yashoda and Krishna. Right? So Krishna had a different desire. Yashoda Mata had a different desire. Now both desires became one. That's why swabandhane word is mentioned. That is 11th contradiction. 12th contradiction. After Mother Yashoda bound Krishna, Krishna saw these 2 tall Yamalarjuna trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna became very merciful. Krishna dragged this wooden grinding mortar between these 2 trees and uprooted those trees. Then Yamalarjuna trees collapsed, and Nalakvar and Manigriva manifested there. Now if you see, Krishna was in bondage. He did not have the ability to release himself from Mother Yashoda's bondage, but he had the ability to liberate Nalakvar and Manigriva from their bondage. Although Krishna is in bondage, he can liberate people. Right? Krishna is bound by love, and Krishna can liberate us from our conditioned state. That is the speciality of this Lila. Now, he is liberator, but he's liberator of all other living entities, but he cannot liberate himself. He could never untie. Yashodamata tied his belly, Krishna with his hands, he could never untie himself and remove the ropes. He could never do that. He's still arrested by Mother Yashoda only. He's still tied to the wooden grinding mortar only. But while being in a bound state, Krishna could liberate Nalakavara and Manigriva. This is the speciality of his Leela. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashritaha bhajate tadrishihi krida yashritva tatparo bhavet. Krishna is performing such enchanting Leelas out of his anugraha towards his devotees, mercy towards his devotees. Manusham deham ashritaha. He has appeared as a human being to show anugraha on his devotees. Bhajate tadrishi krida yashritva tatparo bhavet. When you remember these pastimes of Krishna, or when you analyze in a devotional way, not in a speculative way, but when you nicely go deep into different insights and sweet moments of all these pastimes, Yah Shrutva, and you hear those descriptions, Tat Paro Bhavet, you can become dedicated to the Lord. That will increase our devotion towards the Lord. Now, the last point, the 13th contradiction. Krishna is the possessor of all qualities and their opposites also. Means Krishna can be black, Krishna can be white also. Krishna can be softer than a rose, Krishna can be harder than a thunderbolt also. Krishna acts in such a way that is against his own innate qualities. Although Krishna is liberator, he is bound. Although Krishna shows mercy on his devotees can scold him. Although Krishna is all-pervading, he can be bound. Although Krishna is the supreme judge, he awaits judgment. Although he is the object of prayers, he gets scolded. Although he is condensed bliss, he cries. Although he is the fastest, he gets caught. Although he is time personified, he flees away in fear. And although he is peace personified, he becomes angry. Although he is self-satisfied, he becomes hungry. And although he is absolute truth, he speaks lies. Although he is the supreme proprietor, he steals. Like that, so many contradictions, because Krishna has all qualities and their opposites also. Right? So Krishna has all qualities and he has the opposites also. That is a speciality of Krishna's Lila, and that's the significance of all these contradictions in Damodar Lila. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutah jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhaktimatamiha. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan. It's not so easy to attain that Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Gopika Sutta, who is the dearest son of Mother Yashoda. Jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhaktimatamiha. Jnanis cannot attain Krishna. Atma bhutas cannot attain Krishna. Even devotees also cannot. But devotees can attain Krishna. Krishna, who is Gopika Sutta, can be easily attained by those who have bhakti, but not others. So these are some contradictions in Krishna's Damodar Leela, and where devotee is established greater than God here. Mother Yashoda, could capture and control Krishna even against his wish also. Ultimately, Krishna had to align his wish with Mother Yashoda's wish. So let me conclude here. Yashoda, Mother Yashoda bound Krishna, right? Yashoda means Yasha Da. Yash means fame, reputation. Da means one who gives. So my Mother Yashoda is called Yashoda because she gave that reputation to Krishna. What kind of reputation? What kind of fame did Mother Yashoda give to Krishna? The fame that Krishna is bound by the love of his devotees. After this Leela, Krishna became famous as Damodar. Dama is the rope of Mother Yashoda's love, Udra is his belly. The Lord who is bound, whose belly is bound by the rope of Mother Yashoda's love, is Damodar, and Krishna became famous, popular as Damodar because of Mother Yashoda's binding Krishna. So Yashoda means one who gives fame to Krishna, that he is Damodar, he is bound by the love of his devotees. These are a few contradictions in Damodar Leela. There is unlimited depth in this Leela, but in 1 hour we could manage to cover this much. It's 6:30 now. I'll conclude. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I wish you all a happy Kartik month.